Okay, it is 8:30 a.m. and so we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. That is Eastern time, which is where I'm based out of. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself and then we can get started. My name is Nicole Janeway and I am based here in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got Hafsa posting in the chat that they are based in Saudi Arabia. Noof is also from Saudi Arabia. So that's really cool. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link in the chat, guys. We have an article all about the NDMO data standards, which is a really cool national initiative in KSA. So maybe you'll enjoy this article. We also have George from Toronto. So welcome, everybody. Please continue to post in the chat where you're based. Joining us also, we have Mark Kanoodle. I'm sorry, Mark, I am constantly mispronouncing your name.
No worries.
You can tell us the proper way. But yeah, Mark is one of our data career coaches. He has really abundant experience in the field of data governance. And so I figured he would be the perfect person to tell us about his experience getting ready for the CDMP exam and also answering any questions that the group has. So I think that's it, Mark, in terms of intros. Is there anything else that we want to cover at the beginning? I know you have some more info.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, that was the thanks a lot, Nicole. Hey guys, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, to spread out the good news or the positive vibes around CDMP and get more of you excited and certified in the area. So yeah, here's a little bit about Nicole and I belong to, or Nicole founded actually, the data strategy professionals here, and that's our LinkedIn group, and we will share that in the chat. And we are actually, let me just move this thing here so that I can see my notes. So basically, Data Strategy Pros is really in a mission to help test takers prepare for data-related certifications. Yeah. So one of our offers is to prepare for you for the CDMP exam. So to enable that, we have on the page two options, and we'll get into that later on when we talked about resources as well. But just to mention here up front is that we have the CDMP study group that is on Facebook, and we also have a co-working session, which is like a 1.5 hour session where we basically use 20 minutes of reading and then 10 minutes of discussion around that, of what we just read on that particular chapter, and it's divided in chapters. And basically, yeah, we do 3 cycles of that, and that's the Pomodoro method, and 1.5 hour session. We'll get that into that later as well, on of how many co-working sessions we still have left for the year. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the data strategy professionals, and basically CDMP is just one of the exams that we have helped data practitioners prepare for. CDMP is run by DAMA International. We are just training providers, right? We're just helping you to prepare. So we don't offer the exam ourselves. Yeah, you don't purchase the exams from us or anything. You purchase the exam from DAMA, and we help you prepare for the CDMP exam. Yeah. If you're interested also in data privacy and data analytics, there are also exams that we also help you prepare for that. But that's a moot topic right now because we're talking about CDMP. But before we go into CDMP, let's talk about one of the persons who got certified in CDMP, which is me, back in 2022. So yeah, I'm a certified data professional. I have 15 years of experience as a data practitioner overall. So I've been a wide range of roles, yeah, over the years. So way back, you could consider the role that I had was a data engineer or a report developer. I was a data architect, a project manager, a senior manager, and a program director for data governance. So it's a wide range of titles. But at the end of the day, what I really try to do is basically try to really connect business to technology. So I've always been this translator of requirements from business and try to make it more realistic. And data is a very key bridge in that. Yeah. So yeah, wide, really broad range of industries that I've been. So supply chain logistics with IBM, telecommunications with the T systems. T might be more relevant for you as Deutsche Telekom if you're in Europe, but if you're In the States, it's basically the T-Mobile brand. So I was with them for telecommunications data. I was with GE, General Electric, for finance data, and then industrial manufacturing with Infineon, Siemens Energy recently for energy and renewable energy. But most recently is basically, I mean, healthcare with Siemens Healthineers. A small interesting fact about me is that I've lived in three major cities. I've lived in more cities than that, but these are the three major ones that I've lived in. Manila as being one of the earliest ones, Budapest for at least something like 12, 13 years there, and now 2 years here in Munich, Germany. If anybody of you travels to Germany or to Munich, please come visit Munich. Yeah, ping me, and you'll have a cold beer waiting for you here. If you drink beer, if not, then we'll have something else. But it is the beer capital. That's why I mentioned beer, because Bavaria or Munich is the beer capital, not because that I'm an alcoholic or anything like that. So, yeah, I've led the data governance program at GE and Siemens Energy. So that's basically my data governance there experience. And yeah, data strategy professionals actually helped me prepare and pass the exam. And honestly, I really love Nicole's mission so much that I decided to join the data strategy professionals as a career coach, right? Because you'll see it as well if you're preparing for the exam. There are a lot of resources out there. There are a lot of things that you can spend your money on, which actually, for one reason or another, let's say to be politically correct, is were not effective enough for you to prepare for the exam. And once I saw the material that came out of data strategy professionals, I really liked it, and it really is at the core of our mission now, basically, of preparing people really for the exam and making you really confident in taking it. So that's the reason basically why I joined. I saw the mission, joined them, and basically now helping spread the word and inspiring people. Yeah. So I'm a data nerd. Yeah. I listen to data podcasts for fun, which I don't know if and I try to attend data get-togethers as much as I can. And it's always depending on or pending the approval of my wife. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. I think that's enough about me. And let's get to the core of the discussion, which is basically the CDMP fundamentals exam. Yeah. If you don't recognize this name, and you might be on the wrong call, but this is what we're going to be talking about. Yeah. The CDMP fundamentals exam. A quick quote here by Scott Adams: success wise, you're better off being good at two complementary skills than being excellent at one. And I can definitely relate to that, because back in the day, I was very niche in a data analytics area, yeah, mostly Cognos or Tableau report development there. And I think the CDMP will more or less broaden your scope of as a data professional. So you'll see later on the chapters that we'll cover. And especially for me, when I decided to go into data governance and data management more, the CDMP can really give you like a wealth of, let's say, knowledge or a wealth of resource that you can really grab onto once you embark your career in a different direction that you want to, right? So data is a very broad scope. Yeah. So there are a lot of areas where you can go into, if it's data privacy, data ethics, AI nowadays, and so forth. So there are a lot of options, and the wider your base knowledge is, or the broader your base knowledge is, the easier you are able to get into particular roles or get promoted in a particular role, right? If you're sticking to very narrow, very niche skill set, you might be limited also for the opportunities that aligns to. Yeah. So okay, so for the certified data management professional exam, so the exam basically costs 55 sorry, the book, the DEMBOK costs $55. The exam costs $300, and there's a web proctoring fee of $11. So MBOK is basically the main resource that you will be using. It's almost the only resource that is required for you to use to pass the CDMP exam. Yeah, the CDMP exam requires 6 months to 5 years of experience. And for you to be able to get the CDMP associate certification, you basically need to pass the fundamentals exam by 60%. Yeah, the exam is 100 multiple choice questions. Yeah, so there are multiple choice. There's no essay. There's no any fancy question type, but they're straightforward. It's multiple choice, and and this is key, yeah, you have 90 minutes to complete a 100 multiple question exam. 90 minutes for the 100 questions. Yeah, you do have a little bit more time if you purchase the ESL version of the exam, which is basically English as your second language. So if English is not your first language, definitely recommend extra time. So it's 20 minutes more on top of the 90 minutes that you get. Yeah, so all of the purchases, all exam purchases will also give you a practice exam of 40 questions. So there will be a practice exam of 40 questions. I think the data bank of the questions is around 200. So the practice exam is like 40 questions for each exam, but there's like 200 questions that will rotate on that. So you don't have the same questions all the time practice exam. Yeah, once you purchase the exam, there is basically no time limit of when you must start the exam. So you basically really have let's say unlimited time for you to take the exam itself. Even the practice exam doesn't also expire. You can constantly take it. You can retake it, and as often as you want. The exam is open book. That's very key. There is a order locking. There's a proctor. I think it's a combination of both human and also technological proctor. So there will be somebody watching you or monitoring you while you're taking the exam and while you're having the open book. The rule basically to the exam is that you have a one book to access. So it can either be the soft copy version, which is on PDF, Adobe PDF, or you can have the actual physical book. Yeah, so either one of them you can have, but it's open book. Definitely, of course, for reading and learning and even beyond the exam, we would definitely recommend the book itself because it depends. Like if you're really into ebooks or reading things online, it's fine. But these are 600 pages. Yeah, so it's quite a thick book. Sometimes you get tired of scrolling it on the PDF. But for learning, for you to learn and read about it, it's better to be on the physical book. For the exam, it's easier to be on the soft copy, right? Because of basically the control F function. Yeah, because when you have a question, it's easier than to find keywords on the PDF and get to it quicker. One caveat, or at least one warning around it, is that again, you have 90 minutes for a 100 question exam. Yeah, so don't think don't let's say over plan on using the open book part of it. Yeah, or don't be like don't think that you can look up every question on the PDF. Yeah, so you basically really need to read through once or twice at least the CDMP book. Yeah, the DEMBOK at least once or twice, and don't just rely on just looking the questions up on the PDF one. Yeah, or because again you will have really limited time on looking things up. So I've said a bunch of stuff just now. I just want to check, does anybody have any questions or any thoughts? Was something unclear that I said? Just to go around the room real quick to see if anybody has some questions, or maybe even the chat. Nico, is
Yeah,
there
I'm going to
anything?
jump in really
Mm.
quick. Everything that you've said so far has been awesome. So thank you so much for sharing your perspective. I just wanted to highlight a couple points, one of which Brian posted in the chat. Brian says the PDF copy also needs to be on a separate device from the one that you're taking the test on, but not a mobile phone. So if you can borrow a friend's laptop or maybe your work laptop, or just generally like get your PDF onto a separate device. Actually, let me take that back. I would say use your main device, where like that would be the device that you keep your PDF on if you're using the ebook copy, and then take the test on a separate device because you want to be more familiar with your main device. Separate device is not monitored, but it should be disconnected from Wi-Fi. So don't cheat. It's an easy test. Like it should be a true test of your experience. So there really should be no reason, for them to. I think you do have to show your materials at the beginning as part of the honor lock system. They've moved to fully using AI. So I believe they record your actions, and they're also using the video camera to monitor your pupils. So they have a pretty good system for determining just the veracity of the test taking conditions. So just do the right thing. I don't know. But yeah, just to circle back to that point that we want to clarify. So if you use the ebook, it needs to be on its own device. And just for your own strategic purposes, I would say, like, when you start to prepare for the exam, you should, if you're using that ebook copy, think about that. Study for the test on the same device where you plan to keep your PDF when you're testing, and then think about borrowing a second computer or something like that where you would take the CDMP exam via the HonorLock browser. So I hope that makes sense and is not actually complicating the situation further. But yeah, second device, no Wi-Fi on that device. Keep your PDF there. Other questions from the group? So they recommend on the CDMP website, they recommend taking the exam on a computer, not an iPad, but you could use the iPad as your reader for the DMBOK. That would be no problem. Just make sure that you can quickly search it. Okay, sorry, Mark. Just I'll let
No
you
worries, no
answer the
worries.
questions from here on.
It's also for me also a little bit hard to share and then see the chat as well. So it's quite good that we're both here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
Okay, good. Nobody wants to go off mute and ask something else? Just to be sure. Okay. So next part is certification levels and requirements. Yeah. So basically, when you take the data management fundamentals exam and you pass it at a 60% rate, yeah, you basically automatically get your CDMP associate certification. Yeah, so passing the fundamentals exam gets you CDMP associate level, yeah, certification level, and the exam really is 60% passing. I think that's quite good. I mean, that's fair. I would even say reading the book once or twice, even like not memorizing too much, but at least really understanding most of the concept can get you that minimum. But of course, the more you prepare, the more you memorize, the more you fully really understand the chapters, that will get you the next level and the next level, right? So basically, yeah, to get the associate level, passing the fundamentals exam on a 60%. If you pass the fundamentals exam on a 70%, yeah, at 70% rate, passing rate, then it actually qualifies you to also become a CDMP practitioner. But what you need to add on to your fundamentals exam 70% pass, you need to add on 2 specialist exams. And you also need to pass them on a 70% for you to be able to become or receive the certification of CDMP practitioner. And at that same logic, basically, if you pass your fundamentals exam At 80% passing rate, it qualifies you to become a CDMP master. But to receive the certification of CDMP master, you still need to pass 2 specialist exam on an 80% passing rate as well. And the specialist exam are of your choice. There are, I believe, 7, keep me honest here, Nicole, but 7 options, I think, for the specialist exam. And it's actually the major chapters that you anyway have to prepare for during the fundamentals exam. So yeah, that's basically the logic around the requirements and the certifications. You can optionally also take a specialist exam by itself. Yeah, you can take it separately, but without going for certification levels. Then you're just going for that specialist exam because you want to have that, that specialist of data governance, or yeah. So basically, you can take specialist exams on their own, but if you want to go to the route of getting certified as an associate, as a practitioner, or as a master, these are basically the requirements that you have to align to. Just a little bit, some background numbers there. There are 6,699 data professionals worldwide across 98 countries that have already the associate level. So again, that's 6,600 data management professionals, certified data management professionals. On a practitioner level, there are 430 practitioners on this level. And on a master level, it's 140 professionals that are on this level. And the last one, you can also aim for CDM fellow, yeah, which is basically you need to have the CDMP master, 25 years of experience, and you need to be the thought leader. Basically, there are on this level, on CDMP fellow, there are only 3 people in the world that have this, and I am not one of them. So let me stop here on certification levels and requirements and see any questions coming through. Let me just check the chat real quick. Or anybody? Don't be shy. We don't bite. You can come off mute. You can ask anything. Even if you're still enjoying your turkey, if you're in the States.
Yeah, there were a couple questions.
I'm going to break the silence and just say that so
Good.
far it's very useful that I post the questions in the chat and being answered. That's why I prefer not to annoy other people. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I guess everybody feels the same. That's why we don't.
Okay, good.
You're not annoying, don't worry.
We get responses and it's great. Thank you so much.
Nobody is annoying anybody, really. This is
Yeah.
this is a safe space for us to, discuss and comment. So feel free to come off mute. Appreciate answering the questions. Do we have the statistics of pass rates? Probably DAMA has. I mean, we don't have it. I haven't. It's not also on their website with the statistics of that. So sorry, we don't have that information. But DAMA could.
I'll just say anecdotally, I've been doing this. I started the CDMP study group in August-ish it might have been sometime between August and October. So let's say the fall of the year 2020. And, typically people will not post if they fail, but we get tons, it's very, very uncommon, I would say, for someone to not get a 60 on the exam. Occasionally we will have people post to say that they missed their goals score. So for example, if someone's going for a master and they get a 78 or a 79 on one of the specialist exams, that is a really tough situation and they have to do a retake. The retakes cost $200 instead of the typical $300. So that's nice. But I would say it's extremely rare for someone to not hit that 60% mark. And if you think about it, you're just based on random chance of taking a multiple choice test with 5 potential options, if you just guessed on every single one, you're guaranteed to get approximately a 20% score. So, just thinking about, okay, if you're using some critical reading and your base knowledge of the data management concepts, getting a 60% should be very attainable. So anyway, we don't have actual statistics about the pass rates, but we do have the numbers as DAMA is publishing them, and the figures that Mark read are as of the end of August this year. So they're relatively up to date. And yeah, hopefully that answers everybody's questions. I just want to encourage you guys to take the test, try it, and yeah, I think you'll gain a lot from the experience of studying, and then the test taking also helps lock the content into your long-term memory. So I think it's a great experience.
Right. There were some tips or something, some thoughts that came into mind, Nicole, as you were explaining. So one tip that I really have, of if you're thinking about taking the exam and you've really now decided that you want to go for it, I think the first step that I would really recommend is purchase the exam. Yeah, because that's like a commitment that you bought in, you spent $311 for it, and then you basically plan from that, because even like, second stepping or even second guessing all the time, but once you've purchased it, you're more committed to do it, So that was one thing that a little bit made a difference for me, that at a certain point, I really decided to purchase it, and that really pushed me forward on taking the exam. Or the other thing that to really prepare your confidence for the exam as well, again, read a book once end to end or twice end to end, but really the practice exam. So again, right, once you purchase the exam, you will actually have a 40 question exam along with that purchase, with a bank of 200 questions. But constantly try to practice, whenever you have free time, when you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just go through the 40 questions and see how high you can get. I believe, if I remember right, I passed, I think, at the 99% on the practice exam 5 consecutive times, or maybe 10 consecutive times. I don't really remember the number. And that's when I decided, okay, now I'm good for the exam, because basically doing it 5 or 10 times and you're hitting the top marks or the top hits on your practice exams really shows that you're getting you have gotten most of the concepts down to the core, and that gives you really at least, yeah, please, Bhavya.
Yeah, I was about to ask, would you get new questions every time that you take those 40 practice questions, or will it be repeated?
So no, so you have a bank of 200 questions in the back. So you have a bank of 200 questions, and then the 40 questions will randomly change over time. Yeah, but of course, most of them will always be familiar a little bit here and there. But yeah, the bank will be 200 questions, and the 40 question, the practice exam will be 40 questions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the practice exam that comes with your exam purchase. Yeah. So that also pushes you, to purchase the exam so that you have the practice questions that you can practice with. Yeah.
After you've purchased the exam, is there some sort of a validity date, like you have to take within a year or 6 months?
No, not at all.
Okay.
You can take it at any time. The only time I think that there is some level of time limit is if you want to retake the exam. So I think they store the results for 3 years. So once you've not hit your passing rate, let's say you took the exam and didn't get 60%, and you want to retake it, once you purchase it has to be within the 3 years period. That's the only time that there was any mention of a period. But the initial purchase of the exam there's no time limit on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna just jump in here. Your score that you get on the fundamentals exam counts for the 3 years. So if you're planning to progress to the next stage, then if you don't take all 3 exams within 3 years, then you need to essentially you need to retake the fundamentals exam. I think that's how it works.
Good point. Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, once you buy the exam, it's good for life. So definitely, once you do it, you get those free practice questions. If you desire additional practice questions, we have those on our website. So I'll drop the link to that in the chat. The benefit of our practice questions is we also provide an explanation of the correct answer and the reference page number in the DMBOK so that you can more thoroughly understand the correct answer choice.
Correct. That was the next point that we were getting to. What are your resources for for the exam? Again, DMBOK is the main one, right? So that's your main resource. All the questions are there. So don't think that you have to, research something else or, go in depth into a particular concept in metadata management. You can do that, of course. You have the freedom to do that for your personal development. But for the purpose of passing the exam, the information is in the DMBOK, right? But as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation or beginning of the session, is that we at Data Strategy Professionals really want to enable you to pass the exam. So there are certain things that you can go on the website, on our website, and find that we have a CDMP study plan, which is also quite interesting and also good to take. It's a 90-day journey of preparing you for the exam. So 90 days. You will basically get like 5 or 6 emails per week. You can also get it in an immediate access, but if you want to take it, the right way or the proper way where you want to really prepare and build your confidence up over time, you basically receive per week updates regarding your study plan and helps you progress and helps you push on reading and giving you even case studies and so forth. Yeah, there's also fundamental notes. So basically that's around 30 page document summarizing the 14 chapters in the DMBOK. Yeah, of course, these are notes that you cannot use on the exam, right? Because you have an open book, but you cannot bring your notes. So either you put those notes in the PDF document, right, so that you can look them up, or what I would recommend is write those notes on some blank pages that you can find in your book if you're going to really use the book for the exam. Yeah, so basically like right before a chapter starts, if I can figure my hands out, right before a chapter starts, put your notes here. But if you decide to really go for the book as your one book for your exam, make sure that you are able to, you'll see the book of Nicole later, but make sure you're able to access that chapter and the note in a very quick way. Because again, it's 90 minutes for a 100 question exam, right? So you would like to be able to get to data management, data governance, data ethics in a really quick way, right? And then find those notes alongside with it. Another good thing to also bookmark is basically the conceptual diagrams. If I can find one real quick. There are concept diagrams at the start of a chapter here, like this. I don't know if you see it. I can also show you guys on the PDF. But basically, they summarize almost in one way or another the chapter a little bit, and that helps most of the information, in a very concise and very, summarized way. Yeah. So your notes are going to also be important, but make sure you incorporate your notes either on the book or on the PDF or in the ebook, but make sure you are able to access those notes in a very quick way. Yeah, because you have to be tactical or a little bit there of how you can get to those in a quick way. Yeah, and then to help you even further prepare for the exam is that we also have our own question sets as well. There are 50 new questions from data strategy professionals to prepare you for the exam. I used this question set a lot for my preparation, and what really helped me was basically the explanation that comes along with it. Because sometimes when you're taking a practice exam, you get the notification that you're wrong, but you don't really understand why you're wrong, and then you'll have to do your own research and so forth. But the question sets that data strategy, those are 50 questions, and they will really provide the explanation of why that answer is right. Yeah, and it even will refer to page or pages in the DMBOK that refers to that part. Yeah, so that really helps you also not just know what the answer is, but also understand why that's the answer, so that really helps. So again, we have the 90-day study plan. You have your fundamental notes that you can get from Data Strategy Pros, and also a 50 question practice set that you can get from us. Yeah. And then of course there's also a exam readiness check. So if you want to have a mock exam to prepare for it, mock session basically for the exam, we have 20 question mock exam that will check for your readiness for that. And of course, we also have which I really like, I love this part, is basically having a study group or co-working sessions. So basically, as I mentioned to you earlier, right, we have these co-working sessions where you read and discuss the DEMBOK together. And this is what I really like. Where the community comes together. We try to support each other and discuss things that were a little bit unclear, help each other out, and so forth. So again, this is a 1.5 hour co-working session in 3 Pomodoro cycles, which basically means 20 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of discussion, and in 3 cycles. This really helps because again, you're doing it as a group, and you have it on your calendar, it's committed, and so forth, and it helps you push. It gives you that extra push there, right? Because I mean, if you're doing it as a group, it's much more, you're there, you challenge yourself a little bit more. If you're doing it a little bit, I don't know if you're like me, where it depends on my motivation or my, and I procrastinate a lot. But if I'm doing it as a group and it's teamwork, everybody helping out each other, then you really want to prepare for it, so you prepare your questions, you prepare some read ups a little bit, and then do it as a group. And that's something that is really interesting. So we do have a co-working session coming up as well. I believe that's going to be on the 14th of December, 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to cover the last 2 chapters of the book, the chapter 13 and chapter 14. So that's December 14. And so you can go to Data Strategy Pros, look at our events, and you'll find it there and subscribe there. Okay.
Hi,
Nicole,
Mark.
of course.
Sorry to interrupt. I do agree on like we do procrastinate a lot, and so do you have any tips for like which chapter should we prioritize, and within those chapters, which sections are particularly important? So,
Exactly. Good point. So basically, I'll skip through real quick. What's tested on the CDMP? So we have these 14 chapters that we have to cover. But you'll also see this also in on the CDMP website, is how much percentage each of these chapters actually contribute to the exam. So you see there, data governance, data quality being the top ones. Big data ethics at 2%. At the bottom here, it depends on how you interpret it, right? So focus on the chapters. What we would recommend really is focus on the chapters like these ones, because basically this is 70% of the CDMP exam. So if you have these chapters really well covered, you can be 70% confident. Even if you just get these chapters perfect, you get a 70% score. So again, 14 chapters, but there are really some really core ones that are important. Data governance, data quality. We just finished metadata management earlier, and so you don't, by the way, you don't have to do the chapters in sequence, in any kind of sequence. You can read them individually, right? So you can do chapter 12 first, or you can do chapter 11 first, because that's more important for you, or you feel that you don't know that chapter that well, so you can skip through that. I mean, you can go read those chapters individually. There's no dependency there.
That's what I was going to say too. It's just a lot of people are like concerned because it's the end of the year and we're doing the end of the book. I actually think this is a really awesome time to jump in, because data quality is such an important chapter, and understanding it is really central to your success as a data practitioner. So we'll be talking about all the data data quality frameworks and how that impacts the other domains. And yeah, we throw in big data because I used to be a data scientist and I love talking about this, but I'll try to keep the focus mainly on data quality. And yeah, those 2% chapters, if you really want to kind of get strategic, you can really just like minimize the time that you spend on those in favor of focusing on the topics that are on Mark's screen right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, you might not have the DEMBOK right now, right? So chapter when we say
Thank you. Yeah.
the 14th of December, we'll be covering chapter 13 and 14. So that's basically data quality, which is the second most highest, or equal, right, with 11%, and big data and data science. Right. These are the 2 chapters that we will still cover as our last session, co-working session. I'll be there as well, so looking forward to hearing from you and also discussing with you on these important chapters. Data quality is an important chapter, big data as well. Yeah. But yeah, and it's always great. These discussions really help out as well. Sometimes we go a little bit in depth in some of the terms in the book as well. And sometimes it also goes to application outside the book, where it gets more a little bit, how do you adapt this in your career and so forth. We can also discuss that, but it's more for preparing for the exam. But of course, it's an open session where, Bhavya, please.
Do we get a copy of the book if you were to register for the exam, or we'll have to buy that separately?
No, you have to purchase the book separately. Yeah. DAMA has its.
Sorry.
No, please.
If we go for your study plan, then do you all give a copy of it?
No. So the official providers, DAMA has the actual rights to sell the book, right? So you can find it elsewhere as well, like wherever you find your e-commerce. I don't want to put you in one direction or another, but the official purchase is from DAMA. So I think the Publix, is the publisher there. You can purchase it on their website.
It's called Technics Pub. If anybody's familiar with Steve Hoberman writes about data modeling, and he also owns a publishing company. So they partnered with Steve. I'll grab the link. That's also where you would buy the ebook. But I've found that it's possible to get the DMBOK cheaper on Amazon. So that's what we recommend but like obviously shop around. But Technics Pub is the official provider, and that's where you would get the ebook. So yeah, somebody in a previous session asked about the other books that are listed here. I just want to cover this really quickly. So Navigating the Labyrinth is a very short book relative to the DMBOK, and it can be very helpful for getting the topics explained in a more executive friendly way. So I haven't read it personally, but a lot of people read it and they say that they found it to be beneficial. They also offer the Navigating the Labyrinth and the DMBOK in other languages, so that's great. There's a couple other books that are on that page. I have literally never heard of anyone using them. So let us know if you buy them and what your opinions are. But those other 2, the one that says DAMA on the cover, and then the other one that's the definitions, I've never. So, okay, so let's switch over. Maria has a question.
Yeah, it's a very short question. Are we allowed to have like these post-its and bookmarks on the
Yeah, DAMA recommends it.
book during the exam, because for some other exams you have to check it.
Yeah, they encourage you to highlight and take notes and things like that. So definitely mark up your book. Yes, and post-its.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Nicole, it has to be part of the book, right? It cannot be a separate document that they have to refer to, because, right, on the notes.
That's a new rule as of January of this year, but that's correct. You cannot have additional notes.
So be careful when we say you can have your notes in post-it. Make sure that they're like part of the book notes. Yeah, not if you have like a notebook or something else on the table that can invalidate your exam or
Correct.
will compromise you. Yeah.
Thank you, Maria, for that question.
Anybody else?
So you could have a PDF copy open on another device. If you do so, you can't have the book, is it?
No. That's why they always say one book rule. Either the physical book or either the ebook on a separate device. Yeah. And there was a real great comment there from Nicole. When your primary device, should be the device that you're most familiar with. When you take the exam, the primary device where you take the exam, that should
Wait,
be your.
I said it the reverse.
Was it the reverse?
I think you should have, well, I mean, it's up to you, but like I've heard of people having troubles because like I've heard people say, okay, I just thought I would send the book to my tablet on the day that I'm planning to take the exam. And then when they try that, they lose all their notes. So
of course, yes.
Yeah, so don't do that. Plan to have, what I recommend is plan to study with your ebook on your primary device. Take the test on the second device.
Right.
But that second device should be a computer. And then your first device should not be connected to Wi-Fi. I feel like we should make a diagram of this. I'll ping my diagram maker.
I confused myself, but I was actually about to say the same thing as you did, but I apparently said it differently. But yeah, again.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's where you have been, reading your ebook on, keep that stable. Yeah. as much as you can. Don't compromise that, because if you transfer that to a different device and you don't know the functions of that other device and so forth, then it's unfamiliarity that you're not helping yourself with on the exam. So keep your device familiar. Again, you can have have the exam on a different device. That doesn't matter because you only have to click on the options anyway, right? But to get to your ebook, to get to your notes, make that environment as familiar as possible. So if that's what you have been using during the practice exam, keep that as a stable ecosystem for you to be in a familiar and a confident state for the exam. Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody? Oh, someone,
Yes, quite clear.
Anne says in the chat, the honor lock system won't work on your office computer. So that's could be the case, depends on how your corporate setup is. So maybe borrow a friend's personal laptop for the hour and a half that you're taking the test. Yeah, or just test it in advance to make sure that it will work as expected.
Also good advice, again, to keep your environment and ecosystem stable, so to say. Be sure that you're in a quiet area where there's no extra noise, that can compromise you, that the AI will detect as somebody maybe saying something to you during the exam. So keep your environment quiet where you can take it in peace. I made that mistake. So basically, my son came into the room almost in the last minute as I was reviewing some of the questions. And I just canceled the exam right away. And I actually did not pass it on the 80%. I got a 79, and I just missed that 1% because I didn't, take care of my environment. So don't make the same mistake that I did. And I just remembered a very good point as well. During as you take the exam, one of the tips that I can definitely give you is, even if you're not so confident about the question, give it an answer and then flag it. So you have the option to flag it and then review those flags at the end of the exam. Yeah. So, but at least give yourself the benefit that you're answering those questions, and then you can review it at the end of at the end of the exam, at the end of the 90 questions. Then you can go through 100 questions, then you can go back and see the ones that you flagged and then review it and then before submitting it. That I think is also a good tactic, because you want to get through the exam as fast as you can first round, and then review the ones that you're still in doubt with. And to be able to do that, you have the option to flag the question that you're in doubt with, so that you still have time to review those at the end.
Just don't leave any questions blank. That's the purpose of going through it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Don't leave any questions blank.
And
Okay.
there's a question in the chat. So Viraja asks, will DAMA allow you to retake the exam for free if there is a disruption, such as if the internet connection drops? And I don't know the answer to this, actually. I suspect they might, but I don't know. So you would have to email them and check if
Right.
that unfortunately happens to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're gonna ask for things to verify that, whatever it might be, but I'm pretty sure they'd be open to listen to that, Yeah. So yeah, keep your ecosystem stable. So make sure the connection, as much as you can, is stable enough, in an environment that you can trust, that it will work, power as well, So be sure that you're confident in that space that you're going to take the exam in. I have a little bit of a special tip on preparing for the exam. When you purchase the exam from DAMA and you get your practice exam questions, yeah, I realized that the practice exam questions were on a platform called Canvas. And when I researched a little bit around Canvas, I realized they actually have a mobile app. So there is actually a way for you to practice those 40 questions with a 200 set in the background, the 40 questions. You can practice that on your mobile phone. That was, I think, a key thing for me, mainly because I was using it to practice during commutes, metro commute, while waiting at the dentist in a lounge. You can still, and sort of like subconsciously, some of the questions get really embedded, into it. So that's one. The other one that I would also say as a tip is that if you have either a small community of data professionals, either in the company or you have friends around it, try to practice presenting from scratch what you have just learned. Yeah. So you read a chapter, data management, try to see if you can create a presentation, or at least, and discuss it with somebody and present it, because that challenges how much you really understood the chapter. And it also like opens you up and exposes you to questions as well from others around this, and would really challenge your understanding. That also helped me. So those two things, the mobile app to do the practice questions, sorry. And secondly, to try to see if you can present the chapter to somebody, who might also be taking the DEMBOK. Maybe you can do a certain round. One person does a presentation around chapter 1 and 2, some other person does 3 and 4, and so forth, and do that as a group. That could also be, but those are things that a little bit like help me go one extra mile. Well, still missed that 1%, but what can you do? Life happens.
I think that's a really wonderful tip. Thanks, Mark.
Yes, the practice exam does mirror the actual exam. I would say yes, except for I'm not 100% sure if the flagging is on the practice exam. It's been a while since I don't think that
Yeah.
is, but yeah. Yes, I still have my son, Dion. Yeah. Of course.
It's funny. Yeah, we can all, I think I would also want to take the exams again. So maybe, yeah, you won't feel so bad. In the scheme of things, the CDMP is actually like pretty fairly priced. Some other certifications like the TOGAF can get quite expensive. TOGAF is very well recognized as well for enterprise architecture, but it is much more expensive. So, hopefully if you do decide to take it again, Mark, you'll have quieter space, maybe. Yeah. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's really tough.
Yeah, but it is what it is, it happens. So yeah. So prepare for anything, contingencies, anything that you might go wrong, prepare for that. Yeah, here's just a little bit of speaker icons pyramid here on the topics. As you'll maybe notice, there's only 12 and 2 are actually missing: data management and data ethics. But yeah, this is basically how they build up that body of knowledge there from Peter Eichen. Before anybody goes, I want to say I really enjoyed this session with you guys. I hope they had some more questions come up. If you were a little bit shy, don't forget, don't hesitate to reach out to us, to Nicole or me, message us or ping us, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions or any doubts regarding CDMP. But this has been a pleasure, and hope to see you taking the exam and posting to our group that you've reached your practitioner associate level. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hope to see you
Thanks,
around.
guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Guys, bye bye.
Thank you,
Take care,
Mark.
everyone.
Great job.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.